Well, good morning. It is Saturday. It's actually stopped raining, and there might be a hint of sunlight in the sky. So I do want to go out for some fresh air and a walk. I've been indoors for a couple of days because the weather's been wild and windy and extremely rainy, and it's no fun. Well, as far as I'm concerned, there's no fun in getting cold and wet and miserable. So hopefully I'll do that. I say hopefully because I know I've got a meeting about 11:30. Well, starts at 12, but people are meeting up from 11:30 before then. Online, not in person. I need to say that. But I thought, because I've got quite a limited amount of time and it's nearly 8 o'clock, I thought today it'd be nice to take one of those small papers I created with Distress ink and Posca paint the other day, and to do something with it, because it's a nice small size. It's something that is relatively quick to do, and yesterday I really enjoyed putting words into it, and this morning I thought, I was going to print some out like I did yesterday, but a smaller size font. And then I remembered I've got these. They're from Tim Holtz, Ranger. I think it's Ranger. Oh, Advantus. I don't know, but it's Tim Holtz Ideology. It's called Small Talk. And there's a whole range of these. Now, I've had these in my stash for must be 3-4 years or more. And I have used some. And I want to put something here. And to be honest with you, and they're so lovely things. Have an open heart. Leave a little sparkle wherever you go. Life doesn't have to be perfect to be wonderful. Take risks. Oh, that's been me this week with art, isn't it, for me? Adventure awaits you. Make it happen. And they are here both in white, and then we have them in black, or white on black. So and they are colourable with Distress inks. Not that I want to do that today, but I think I'm going to take this one because I have an open heart. It just feels the right one to use today. And although they're sticky on the back, I find their sticky on the back isn't my Ranger sticky on the back. So I'm just going to add some of this glue just to give it a secure. Oh, yeah, you have to excuse me a mo because I am going to get my Distress inks. Yeah, let's do that. And I'm going to just go around the edge of this with a little bit of Distress ink because it will give it a border and an edge. I don't want to use black. I want something that fades in with this. And I'm not going to try and mix them, but I think aged mahogany would do it for me today. So let me just pick. I'm all fingers and thumbs this morning. I haven't been awake long enough. I really didn't have a very good night's sleep. I do have to say that. I didn't get to sleep early enough. I went to bed and thought I'd go to sleep quickly, but I put The Empire Strikes Back on, Disney Plus, being a Star Wars fan, because I thought I'd like to continue watching. I started watching the films from episode 1 last weekend, I think, and I've been watching them slowly through the week, not all the time, but bits here and there, I think, or the odd evening. And so I'd done the first 3. It's the Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and Revenge of the Sith. And wondering which way I'm going to do it. Whether I do it that way. Yeah, I think I will. And do I want to put it central, or shall I put it? I think I'll put it down there because that seems to be a nice place to put it. So let me just put the lid back on this glue and pop it out my way. Go. And what else I've done is I've grabbed a selection of pens. So I've got a pencil because I will draw a pencil border, so I don't go right up to the edge, because I don't want to go right up to the edge. If I don't put a pencil border in, I will. The edge of the paper, I want to go up to a pencil edge to leave a border of those colours. I've got black pens here. So the Uniball I Micro and the Uniball Signo DX, both of which are waterproof. And then I dug these out of my stash, which are some Sakura Jelly Roll metallic pens. This isn't gold, but it's a kind of, I suppose, coppery colour. And then I've got this one, which is more of a browny, I suppose a bronzy colour. Yeah, it's a bronzy colour. And I've got this lovely red, which I thought would tone in with these others. And I'm in a quandary now, because part of me would like to draw in these colours, but part of me knows that if I try to do that, I'm going to end up making a mistake. But I might use them for highlights or areas or something else. I don't know, but I've dug them out just in case. So first job, let's get this pencil border in. And I do want to leave quite a big border here today, because I do love these colours. I think this one, I said the other day that the one I did earlier on this week, that was my favourite one without the background on. Oh, excuse me, I've got a runny nose and I don't know why. Tree pollen, I guess. But this combination of colours really is, you can see how easily that unpopped even with the glue on, because it'll take a while for the glue to dry and here. So I am going to actually use this one, and I am going to put a metallic border right up against this. Yeah, it may pick up a bit of the distress ink. Now with these metallic pens, like with all the jelly rolls, it's better to use a light touch, because the ball in it acts as, I think, a kind of valve. So when you put pressure on, it opens. But the more pressure you put on, the less the ink flows, which is sort of counterintuitive, but it's how it works. So yeah, morning mocha as well. I need a drink. And I think that just adds something nice. And I'm also going to put around that, I'm going to leave a little space. If we go into the realms of zentangle, it's called an aura. In the realms of Angela, it's called, heck, I'm putting a border around it. But there's also a method in me putting a border there, because it gives me that clear space that I'm going to work from to add whatever I want to here. And I think I'm going to start by putting some little rocks here, I think, today. Not that I'm saying you should have a hard heart, but rocks are really stable, aren't they, for things to grow from? So perhaps I'm thinking of some kind of stability here. Or perhaps they're root balls, or that these things that I'm going to add so I want to try to get motifs and patterns in here. They have hearts in them. So I think something like this would be quite lovely. It's almost like there are two leaves on each side of the stem. But as they're folded up, they make that lovely heart shape, don't they? And I like that. I like that. So whether I add any more hearts, I don't know, but this works for me for now. So yeah, so I was awake far too late last night watching Star Wars and trying to settle down. Maybe not the best thing for me to watch, because I didn't realise how anxious I get when I'm watching the films for the various characters, you see. And even though I've seen them so often, I think in the past years, I've put them on while I've been doing something else. So I haven't really paid that much attention. And because I've been in bed, actually watching the films to try to settle down, it's really interesting because there's so much I seem to have forgotten about them. And of course, with younger eyes, or eyes that are perhaps more attuned to artistry rather than just the story, there's so much in the props and the backgrounds and the patterns and designs that are used on everything that I'm finding that really fascinating. But it's not just that. It's noticing things that are said and done that echo throughout the whole, the sequel trilogy. So episodes 1 to 3, sequel, and then prequel, and then the sequels, so episodes 7 to 9. And I find that interesting because I've often said it feels like a story stuck, that something needs to be done to move a particular galaxy away from the repetition of events in the past. And so it's really interesting how similar kinds of situations, similar kinds of phrases and words are used. And I can beat myself up for not seeing this before, but I think sometimes it just takes time with me for things to sink in. I remember that, even with Terry Pratchett books, it can take years before a joke, I get it. And sometimes somebody has to say it to me, or I have to hear it out loud, and suddenly the pennies drop. And sometimes it doesn't even then, and I go, I sort of understand it's supposed to be funny, and then somebody will say, but because, I go, oh gosh, I'm so dim. And with Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, I remember it particularly because it took years and years and years for a lot of the things that were said, even said in the television series, in the books, in the audiobooks. And one I remember is talking about the Vogon constructor fleet and saying the ships hung in the air in exactly the same way a brick doesn't. I find that really funny now because it's describing something for what it's doing by describing something that doesn't. And I just, anyway, I'm not sure if there's a proper name for that, but it took me decades for the penny to drop on that one. And I just think, oh, Angela. So, so I'm picking these things up perhaps at long last. Other people might go, oh, you realise that. Well, I think I had an inkling there was a lot of this stuff there. It's just that it hadn't quite dawned on me yet. And I can, as I said, I can be really, really dim about things. I don't know why. I do know that people should really not be subtle with me. If you want something, or if you want me to understand something quite easily, please state it quite clearly. Don't expect me to put suggestions, innuendo together, because I may not do that. As much as I love a puzzle or something similar, boy, can I be dense. And I mean that, I really can be dense. And I can remember a good friend of me saying, Angela Porter, do I have to explain everything to you? And I can remember saying, pretty much so, yeah. And I think that's the first time I realised just how obvious you have to be, or people have to be with me. Don't expect me to always pick up the hidden meanings, and I don't know why this is. Especially as I can beat around the bush in a way that would have even the most tricksy lawyers desperate to learn my skills. I can avoid a point so well and eloquently, and I know it used to frustrate my my EMDR therapist at times. I try not to do this so much now, but I think it's part of who I am mostly. But again, it's that awareness that I'm aware of this, and try to be aware of it when I'm dealing with other people. I think it was something I must have developed to avoid being rejected as a child, perhaps. It's not asking for something openly. And isn't that ironic, is that people ask me for something or say something to me quite openly. I get it. If other people beat around the bush, I don't. And yet I'm a mistress of the art of beating around the bush, as it were, of complicating things and long sentences. Yeah, it's not lost on me. Honestly, it really isn't lost on me, the irony. Got black going here. So while I'm talking, I am keeping in mind what the quote is I've put here, so I do want things to kind of tie in with that. Have an open heart. And I think being able to have an open heart, you do need a solid foundation in terms of yourself, to be sure of who you are in a world that we live in, and to know that you can take, life's knocks and ups and downs. So I think that actually works quite nicely there. I think it does. And I'm just going to put another little pebble in there just so that it's on there. And because this looks the perfect place to do so, I do love an arch, or that kind of motif, don't I? I do love an arch. So, yeah. So, there you are, you've got me blathering on about me and my oddities in life. And I've got absolutely no idea how I got to that point, which is also something that happens for me. I've often been described as having a grasshopper mind. And I think that's quite true. It can flit from one thing to another. I make connections in a way that I'm not always aware of, and even I will get confused as to how on earth did I get from here to here. It'd be quite amusing, I gather, at times. Just maybe not all times. Now, while I'm at it, before I go any further, I'm going to put metallic centres in these, because I like metallic centres in them. And I'm going to put a metallic these sections here, I think, can be metallic like veins of, well, in this case copper. But I'm going to use some of this purpley colour as well. And then we'll go to the bronzy one. I've only got one left for that one. That's okay. And those will just add something there. And I also think I might Start here. Go. So, and obviously this will need some colour because I'm not adding a lot of detail at this time, but you never know. Now then, I do want to trying to think here as to how I can, while this is drying, because this is taking a while to dry there, what I can do here, because again, it's bringing that idea of a heart into this, so I think this could work. No significance at all about them facing downwards. You can take any if you wish, I suppose. It's just that that's the way that they needed to go. And perhaps get them here. So that adds something really quite nice there. Okay, if in doubt, let's do some this kind of shape because I like them. Well, that can sometimes just be the only reason to add something. It's because I like them. And I'm going to make bottoms just that little bit thicker. Can't really do that with those because they just touch the bottom, but it's part and parcel, I think, of this particular kind of motif. I think in zentangle land this is called muka, or it might be a variation of flax, or I don't know, because a lot of the patterns are very similar and there's subtleties that change their name. But just notice something that I can do here, that little section there, and I can sneak a little one in there and possibly even one here. So adding little hearts even there. And still wet, so I have to be careful. I'm determined not to smudge it. Some little hearts even there, and perhaps some here as well. It'll be interesting what colours I use to add to this to bring this drawing to life. I think I'll be using the Zig Clean colour markers, but I've got kind of a soft pinky tones. I've got blues and so on. Green's going to be an interesting one to work out what to add, though I could have green and pink leaves like succulenty, I suppose. Okay, what am I going to do now? Because I need to do something here. This is always one of those things where it's always a bit of a challenge when I draw like this, where I go, okay, I've got here. Right, what do we do now to move this forward? And sometimes I feel like I draw myself into a corner, as it were, and I then have to find a solution to get me out of it. So this one may be a good solution, and again it may not be, I don't know. I just think it's quite nice to add some more hearts while I'm at it. in unexpected ways, perhaps just to fill in perhaps some areas of the design, said in unexpected ways, so I don't have too huge a gap, though that wouldn't be a problem as I'm going to add colour perhaps. So we've got things there, and then yeah, trying to work out what to do next, because these are interesting in their own little way. This paper's rough. My pen is skipping on the roughness a bit, so I'm finding that interesting, as in the phrase, may you live in interesting times. Perhaps a little bit frustrating might be a better way of saying it. Oh, now that's going to be interesting in a nice way. So, and this reminds me of the zentangle pattern. I think it reminds me of something called arukas. It's not started in the same way, but this kind of overlapping like this is very similar. It actually gives a nice depth to that. It makes it feel like it's going backwards. We're on looking down into something, perhaps into a pool or a pond. I don't know. Yeah, it's different anyway. And okay. All right, let's have a look. Because I love flowers. I signed up for yet another Domestica class last night. And this one is with Lapin, and it's botanical drawings and watercolours and a sketchbook and so on, which is something I have done and will continue to do. I said watercolours, didn't I? I did. I know. But my theory on it is it's interesting to listen to other artists, how they work, see how they work, their inspirations and methods, and just to learn and perhaps gain other tools, or my artistic toolbox, or ideas that resonate with me, or a little bit of confidence about something that I'm not very confident with. Watercolour, it's one word. But I also know that it's going to be interesting because it will light a bit of a spark in me, like all the others I'm doing. Yeah, I'm doing them. I'm doing many, because some days I may feel like doing one particular course. Another time I need a little bit of a break from it because I've got frustrated with myself. And then come back to them. And that will make a lot more sense when I add colour, I think. And so that will be an interesting kind of thing for me to do. Without a shadow of a doubt. I have no idea where this came from. I think I wanted to put hearts along one side of a stem as leaves, and I've ended up with partial hearts, but you know what? It's there now, it's in ink I can't remove, and I'll have to work with it, and perhaps in the grand scheme of things, all will work out just fine here. So let's have a look. To go along, I'm refining these shapes to make them look perhaps a little bit more heart-shaped than they were. As if part of the heart is stuck in the stem. But I have a plan. Something else in the mo. I'm sure there are lots of other heart patterns that I could have used to create stems and background patterns and so on, but I've worked with what I've done here, and look at that, we've got opening hearts between those stems. That worked. It did. I do want to put some dots around just to fill in some spaces, not entirely, but just to give me somewhere to perhaps pop a little bit of colour, most probably metallics, just to tie in with this bit here. And then because I've got them here, there are some gaps around here that I can put them in as well, just so that we've got them across. I do usually like them in threes, groups of threes, so I'm going to go back and see if I can get those groups of three working. Perhaps not so much. Oh, I don't know. Just another one there, that'll work. Here we go. And the last thing that I need to do to this before I do anything else, while I've got these pens out, is add my initials. And that there is the drawing done. So, half an hour. It doesn't take that long, it's everything else that takes the time. I keep telling people this. If I start to add colour, it's going to take me a fair bit longer. And I am very tempted to. But I wanted a small project this morning because I know that I'd like to get my backside into gear and get out for that walk and settle myself down for the rest of the day. I've got this meeting, this course this afternoon, which is nothing to do with art. It's something a bit more personal, kind of meditation thing. And then that's going on till sort of like mid-late afternoon. And then I'll see what happens. But I haven't had breakfast yet. And the video will need editing. No, it doesn't need editing because I'm going to leave it as it is. It's nearly 35 minutes long. So while this is uploading and I'm sort of sorting myself out or letting myself get ready for breakfast and so on and drinking my coffee, my mocha, I'll record the colour of this and perhaps upload that tomorrow, because Sundays are busy days, surprisingly, for me. I have sort of regular weekly sort of like get-togethers, and I've got 3 tomorrow. So perhaps I'll spend some time adding colour to this and see how it goes. But I'd like to say thank you very much for joining me. I hope you enjoy this slightly shorter video. Just point out that all of the projects I've listed or I've mentioned today are ones I've bought with my own money. I'm not paid or sponsored or given anything to promote products or to review them in any kind of way. If you've enjoyed what you've seen, give the video a thumbs up. I'll go like that. Can we get a thumbs up? Thumbs up, I like. Consider subscribing to the channel, and I hope to see you here again. And I think tomorrow's video will be adding colour to this, and fingers crossed I'll actually do it just nice for a change. Get it nicely done. So take care of yourselves. Enjoy the rest of your day or evening or morning or whatever time of day it happens to be with you. So take care. Bye-bye.